Hello, today I will present about the software requirements specification for our project, the partnership mobile. So the presentation contains five parts. Part one is a product scope. So this product provides an enjoyable and challenging game experiment. And it focuses on the skillful strategy and decision making. About the gameplay, the player just take turns calling out the position of the opponents and try to shrink all the opponents' ship. And about the project scope, it contains the development of the game mechanics, the UI, the scoring system, and also the integration with the Android platform. So the part two is about overall description. So products contains four main elements. First element is about the grid-based battlefield with the obstacle and the power-ups. Um, the second element is about map site selection. The third element is about ship selection and placement. And the final is about turn-based gameplay. Um, the the functions of the product includes four main functions. First is the selection of the map size and the ships. Um, the second function is turn-based and pausable gameplay. The third function is to provide static obstacles, and the last one is to provide power-ups. So next to the part three is about external interface requirements. Uh, Firstly, it's about the UI. The UI contains um, five main components. First is the on startup screen. Uh, in the startup on startup screen, we have three buttons: start, hub, and setting. In the setup match, we have uh, some buttons for player to choose the types of the ship and the map size. Um, in the setup layers, we have buttons to choose the shapes of the ships, and also we have some place to enter the password of the players. In the in-match the screen, we have some the opponent, the number of the opponent ships. We have the players map. We have the uh, opponent maps, and we also have fire buttons. And the final component is the in-game pause menu. It contains four buttons: resume, restart, setting, and the hub. So about the interface, we need about the hardware interface. We have I/O system contains containing screen and sound. About the software interface, we support the OS is the Android OS, and we also use the game engine. The Unity. About the communication in the game, we have some communication between ships, player ships, and player. We also have some management of the game state. We have the state transition between the menus and the scenarios, and beside the current unfinished match is set to the game system. So next part, the fourth part is about the system features. The first feature is about the game mechanics. Um, it's the game mechanics is really simple. It just player will take turns to guessing the coordinate to sink other opponent ships, and the game will end when one player sinks all opponent ship. So when the player input the coordinate and the password, opponent will respond with a hit or miss. Players mark boards accordingly. When player fight other opponent's map, if there is a power up, they gain it, and if in the player's turn, when player have the power ups, they can choose to use them or not. There are some requirements in this feature. First is a ship placement. We need to ensure the correct ship placement without overlap. We also need to verify the player identity with password. Besides, we also need to enable coordinate guessing and accurate response. Also, we need to check the win condition. Okay, so the next feature is about the selection of the map size. Um, the game will provide diversity selection of map size, and each map size has a corresponding number of the ships. So when player begins a new match, the system requires the player to select a map size. So about the requirements of this feature, the map size need to be spanned in compatible range, and the number of ships need to be balanced. So the next feature is about type ship and ship placement. So when player begins a new match, the system will provide the types of ship and a map. So player can uh, select the number of each type of ships and they can place the ship on the map. The next, oh sorry, this feature also has some requirements. It needs to provide compatible types of ship. It also need a user-friendly interface, and it need to check the placements uh, is correct or not. And the next feature is about the obstacle features. So the game creates many unpredictable obstacle in the map, and uh, some stimulus and response are when the players enter the match, the system places the obstacle randomly in the map. And when one player finds into a position containing an obstacle, he is stunned, and the opponent takes 2 consecutive turns. There are some requirements for these features. First, obstacle must not overlap with the ships and the power-ups. The system need to know, need to announce the players when they hit an obstacle. Also, players must not know the location of the obstacle in the opponent maps. And the sun effect must last for only 1 turn. The next feature is the power-ups feature. It provides various creative power-ups to make the game more exciting. So when the player fire to a select position in the open map, in the opening map, if that position contains a power-ups, he or she will gain it. And if some players turn, he or she will have some power-ups. So the player can choose to use the power-up or not. There are some requirement in this feature. First, you need to provide a compatible power-ups, and it just only one you only one um maximum one power-up in each turn. Um, the power-up could start to be used in the following turns of the turn when the player collects them, and the used power-up disappear right after being used, and the power-up are placed anywhere randomly. So the last feature is a password feature. Uh, so the game will let the player to create their own password, so that um, player can so that the game can verify the player identity at the beginning of each turn. So when the player starts a new match, player need to create are required to create a password, and um, when it's some player turn, the player will be asked to enter the password for verification. So about the requirements for this feature, the password should be balanced between the length and between the security and the time to input to enter the password. Also, the password need to be required at the start of each player turn. Players must not know about others' password. And finally, we have some requirements, the non-functional requirements. First, we have some performance requirements such as time, um, uh, and resource. Uh, then we have some safety requirements. We also have some security requirements, software quality requirements, and business rules.